Good evening, Ruskin enjoyers. Happy to right, 'cause it's time for the 48-hour analysis. Basically, in this video, I'm going to look at all the skins of the current Rust store, make comparisons to previous Rust store skins, to get a good idea in regards to, well, how much each of these skins are likely to sell by next Thursday, and then knowing that will then question, are these skins still holding up to being perfectly fine investments, or are there any potential problems that you need to be aware of? So sit back and relax. I'm going to start yapping. So this video is going to be a little bit odd, because my predictions video was delayed, wasn't it? It was delayed because I had to focus getting this made, showcasing all the brand new Twitch drops. And by the way, you can pick them up right now. Go watch those streams if you can. I hope you enjoy the brand new skins. But in this video, because I put it out, on Saturday, we've already looked at the first 24 hours of sales. And technically speaking, I've already looked at all of these. I've seen progress with sales, and I've already discussed what I think potentially is looking to be the best investments. However, more time has passed. Perhaps the things I feel confident in might look a little better now. Or maybe things might look a whole lot worse. We'll see. We'll discuss. So let's jump into it. First 24 hours of sales. Sinotype Sulfur, whilst it's the top selling skin, and who would have guessed, Sinotype on top, it's actually selling considerably less compared to recent Sinotype skins. Notably, as you can see here, Sinotype Armor, by the end of its 7-day tenure in the Rust store, that ended up becoming the second lowest selling skin out of all Sinotype skins. And yet, it still has more than 1,500 subscribers in comparison to this. This has 1,500 less compared to Armor. Oh, what? Perhaps it's because it's a Sulfur box. We'll discuss this a little bit more. Would you consider a Sulfur box more important compared to an Armor box? Comment below. But yeah, that's definitely looking to be potentially the second lowest selling skin, maybe even the lowest selling Sinotype skin overall. So we'll talk more about that. Now, to see the small diesel box with over 11,000 subscribers and being the second highest selling skin, not too surprising. We were incredibly surprised to see that, yes, we've actually got a brand new small box collection. Kind of need a third one perhaps to actually have a proper collection, but anyway. Sold a lot because of the hype, most likely. 4,000 more subscribers compared to the fuel box in the previous week. However, it's also the first ever diesel box we've ever had. So perhaps there's also quite a lot of hype behind that as well. Okay, cool. These two skins, they've got quite a lot of interesting positivity behind them. Lots of potential. These two skins are like the only skins I was feeling confident in, potentially being nice investments for the week. And all the other skins, unfortunately, they have problems, they have issues. But, can't be surprised to see Gold Chains Boots only 2,300 subscribers after the first 24 hours of sales. Well then, its collection is a bit odd, and of course I'll explain that a little bit more when we talk about that, but that really is low, isn't it? But maybe that's a good indication that that collection's going to need a whole lot more than just boots to help it out. So, okay, cool. And an extra little thing to point out, considering it was quite a big surprise to see the collection continuation for Brony with the Brony Roadsign Gloves. The previous skins in this set were accepted back in 2018, 7 years ago. So within the first 24 hours of sales, with these Roadside Gloves, they've already matched up to the previous skins in terms of subscriber counts. Yeah, that's a big surprise, isn't it? So, that might be a bit of a concern, but we'll talk more about that in a bit. Let's now hop out of here and showcase to you the first 48 hours of sales. Ta-da! And so with that, I should point out, it's actually later. Unfortunately, it's not actually 48 hours. It's like a couple hours later. But this has only got 22,000 subscribers. And if I could just quickly remind you, Firearms had just over 31,000 subscribers. I get the feeling Sulfur, it has a very decent chance of being the lowest selling skin. What are your thoughts with regards to that? Now, Small Diesel, just over 48 hours. And in fact, if I could just refresh, it's a little bit more sales now. And, oh, yeah, there you go. This is almost practically matched up to the sales of the fuel box. So we really do need to see a third box to help that one out, don't we? And overall, with all the other skins here, the sales are quite tame. They are quite tame, yeah. I honestly thought, and I did talk about it for the previous week, in regards to all these skins here, you might recall I said, oh wow, these sales are quite tame, aren't they? Looking a bit low, so even then, these skins over here look like they'll sell less. Sorry, it's a bit slow to update, it seems. So, okay, cool. Let's actually go through all these skins now and discuss how much each of them likely going to sell by next Thursday. Sinotype Sulfur. So, of course, probably the best thing we can compare to are the previous Sinotype skins, but more specifically the armor box. That sold just less than 36,000 subscribers. This over here, the progress with its sales is not looking the best, are they? I am still expecting at least or more than 30,000 subscribers. But I just mentioned it, that right there, just over 31,000 subscribers. Could this suddenly slow down and not reach 30k? I mean, sure, anything's a possibility, but I do think it's still going to reach over 30k. I'm still confident it's going to sell more than this. But in the long term, if that ends up being one of the lowest selling skins, could it actually work out quite nicely? Well, I have said this quite a lot. If I go over to here, oh, that needs to refresh. There we go. In regards to Sinotype, I do believe all of it will gradually go up in price ever so nice. Yes, we do have a few of the skins going down in price at the moment, but this isn't a surprise. I've said this before, and I'll say it again. I was under the impression, as we go through the first dip, upon seeing all, gathering all these skins, as we go through the first dip, which of course is going to be October, most of these skins will most likely be struggling at around $3, more or less. That was what I was expecting. As you can see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, and I guess you could say 5 here as well. 5 of them around, and that one too, and that one, struggling at around $3. But this was normal. This has happened before. It was expected. The expectation is, as time goes on, as we go through good times, such as January time, and of course summertime, these will be enjoyed, appreciated, and slowly bought out, with the prices gradually going up. So that is a big hope, but what we also had to take into consideration, the player count has dropped. Not like an insane amount, but it has dropped off a noticeable amount. And this was also expected. I put out the warnings. I told everybody that you should expect with September the drop off. But we also have to take into consideration, in just a couple of weeks' time, we have the October Force Wipe. And there's going to be a big balancing update. Of course, I'm sure you've been keeping track of the commits, seeing all the changes that have been mentioned, people talked about on Twitter. Basically, the expectation is that with October Force Wipe update going to be a balancing update with changes to monuments, changes to how you even get your workbenches and whatnot. It honestly looks like a lot of people might be turning up just to see how different it is. I personally was hoping to see potentially some weapon balances, but it doesn't seem that's happening now. But still, I think a lot of curious people will be jumping in and wanted to see how much of an impact it has. And if I could just remind all of you, with September last year, we got quite a significant drop-off, 90,000 to 76,000. Well, let me tell you this. I won't be surprised if we go down to about 86,000 for the average player count this month. Look what happened in October. Last year in October, we had the world update. And lots of very curious people jumped in. They wanted to see what it looked like, even though it's October. Kids are in school. People were working hard. They still appeared. They still jumped in. But the momentum, it stayed strong. People stuck around in November, people appeared in December, and we got a record-breaking amount of people turning up for January. After we have the October Force Wipe update, we also have November. That's when we're getting the naval update. You know, the naval update with the vast oceans, all the boats, the boat bases, being a pirate, you understand. With a big, massive content update like that, I think a ton of people will be turning up. And I do believe lots of people turning up for November, lots of people sticking around in December, and during that Christmas period, when kids are out of school, most, students away from college and whatnot, education, people not working as much during that Christmas period, as we roll into January time, I'm expecting a ton of people to be playing, and of course, with lots of people turning up, we would expect it would be the best time to sell your skins, because when there's a lot more people there, there's a bigger demand for all skins, and most skins will rise up in price ever so nice. Happened many times in the past, we expect it to happen again. So back over to here, with these skins right here, yes, they might struggle as we go for October, but that's like every other skin as well. And yes, it's currently right now it's an active collection. I do worry for what might happen as we go through October time. Oh no, woe is me, no Sinotype skin for about 2 or 3 weeks. But still, you should expect some very nice things ahead of us, alright? Of course, nothing is a guarantee, but with how everything's lining up at the moment, it does look like everything could work out very nicely, and potentially for January 2026, we might see a record-breaking amount of people playing Rust again. Brace yourselves. So in regards to the Sinotype Sulfur Large Box, I think you're going to do between 33 to 38,000 subscribers. It potentially will be the second lowest selling skin. But with only so many to go around, and of course, people contemplating with the potential, or rather, it should be happening as of now, the removal of skin box and similar programs on certain servers. You can't just sit there and say, oh, I demand to have the Neon Storage Collection. Nope. You're going to have to own your very own collection. Well, this right here just so happens to be the most affordable and approachable set right now. Maybe a lot of people are going to gradually pick up this, and then you might end up seeing it going up in price ever so nice. But again, January, next summertime, that's usually the time where you're most likely to notice it happen. So, okay, cool. Let's now move on. Let's talk about the small diesel box. So in regards to this, yeah, big surprise. Just 2 days in, it's almost matched up to the sales that the small fuel box did. But in regards to what could we compare to? Honestly, I think we could compare to, like 2 weeks ago, we saw the Arctic Skull M39. That had just under 12,000 subscribers. But with the first 24 hours of sales over to here, well, that did just over 11,000 subscribers. Well then, let's quickly hop over and see what that, how that Arctic Skull M39 turned out, because, yeah, that did just about 23,000 subscribers almost. Lots of interest. The first M39 skin to be accepted in quite some time. But I just can't help but assume a lot of people very likely will be waiting until the last second, keeping track of what the skin creators are up to, because of course it's heavily hinted that the next small box is going to be a card box. And I think a lot of people really do want to get one of those, don't they? So a lot of people anticipating the arrival of that. And if they do see it, they're going to anticipate it being accepted. And if it gets accepted, you very likely will see this rise in price ever so nice. Of course, let's just quickly remind you, with the small fuel box, as you can see here, it's currently at about just under $4. 2 stragglers, 2 low listings. If these disappeared, suddenly it's back up to $4. But it actually peaked at around $7 initially, right? That did happen. I was looking at it on Thursday. If we see a third box, I think this is going to bounce up again, but I could see the diesel box doing very nicely as well. But take note of what we've seen here. Do notice, as time has gone on, more people have decided to list theirs, and they're starting to undercut each other, and the price is going down. With the diesel, if you're going to do around 23,000 subscribers, and with the current rate of sales that I'm looking at right now, I think this is going to probably do between 22 to 25,000 subscribers. Yes, potentially more than the Arctic Skull M39. If there's more to go around, there's a more likely chance that you could see with the diesel box in the future going down to a cheaper price because there's more of it being listed. So, just saying, okay? This very likely could be the firearms of the collection, and diesel could just end up like ammo. And in regards to the Sinotype collection, if we're talking metaphorically, what I'm saying is firearms ended up being, well, $16, and ammo's just stuck at around $3. Yeah, so just kind of warning you, perhaps you might want to consider selling your diesel box as fast as possible if we do see the proposed third box, which is expected to be a cards box. All right, so just putting that information out there. But yeah, 22 to 25,000 subscribers. Be prepared and keep track of what the skin creator is working on over the course of the weekend. Cool. So moving on with the Dominus Mortis Thompson. I did mention how Thompsons, well, they're not like what they used to be. I honestly was hoping to see like a weapon update. Buffs, nerfs. The Thompson would appreciate a buff. Unfortunately, look at all the skins, the marketable ones. Perhaps all the Twitch drops appearing as well for free might, of course, have a negative impact. But it's also last year and the year before. Only a few of them doing good, and the rest of them, ever since we had the aim cone update to the Thompson, it hasn't been appreciated as much, unfortunately. It's the weapon itself that's the problem. So if we could just do a nice comparison. So I thought, you know what, if I was to look at the Thompson with how much sales, just over 8,000 subscribers. I looked at the previous week, and you can see Corrupted Armor Double Door with 8,400 subscribers and Small Full Box with just under 8,000 subscribers. I thought that's the best thing to compare to. So let's just go to the previous week. As you can see here, just over 18,000 subscribers for the Corrupted Armor Double Door, and the Small Box here, just under 17,000 subscribers. So I looked at these, I looked at the sales that we currently have with the Thompson, and I thought, you know what, that very likely will be doing between 16 to 19,000 subscribers. And considering a lot of the Thompsons here have sold less, and also considering that the Dominus Mortis collection is it's a weapon-only collection. It's not exactly good, super great, unfortunately. So I think in regards to what we see here, I think you're probably going to see that going down in price. Will that be surprising? But again, in regards to Thompson skins, what's the cheapest one? Because as I said, in the past, they have performed quite nicely. But yeah, lowest price, please. Sorry, I'm talking too quickly. And the answer is $1. Still staying at just above $1, but as we go through October, could it go lower? We'll see, we'll see. But yeah, not looking the best, unfortunately, so we'll leave it at that. Oasis Furnace and the Cyberjacket, I know for a fact that their sales have been very similar for the past 2 days. 6,400, 6,367. Well, what could we compare to? Well, I thought, you know what, maybe we could go back a bit and compare to the Squadron Python. Just over 6,000 subscribers. So if we could just go back 2 weeks, as you can see here, 11,250 subscribers. Okay, not too bad. Look at the current sales as well. So with the Furnace, 9,500, and of course with the jacket, about 9,400. I get the feeling that these two are probably going to do between 12 to 14,000 subscribers. But if they're going to land at that amount, what potentially might happen with them? So with the Furnace, its collection is actually starting to recover quite nicely. The door's going up in price, the large box is going up at night quite nice, and of course the sheet metal double door. But let me remind you, the sheet metal double door, that got the surprise complete the set's acceptance, didn't it? When we saw this, ta-da! And of course with the arrival of the sheet metal double door, it reinvigorated the skin creators to return to it, and now we have the Furnace accepted as well. I'm under the impression we very likely could see the collection probably grow a little bit more, with more deplorables being accepted. But the sheet metal double door, you're doing very nicely at the moment, because of course you're a sheet metal double door. All of these sheet metal double door skins that have been accepted over the past couple of years, they just comfortably go up in price. Almost $3 at the moment. Not a massive gain, but still a perfectly nice, comfortable gain. But what we have here is a Furnace, and it's not exactly a sheet metal double door. So hopping back over to here. Most Furnaces that have been accepted recently, well, look at them. Down 28, down 50, down 24, down 44, down 42. That's problematic. Before we saw this, and of course the sheet metal double door, these three skins were down really, really, really bad. But with the collection technically active, and with it growing, more investments being put into it, more appreciation is happening. So, okay, maybe there's a fairly decent chance we could see actually this working out nicely, especially if we do see more skins being accepted afterwards. So what you need to do is you need to go to the workshop, and you need to keep track of what the skin creators are working on next. What will we see? Well, Dracula apparently. Don't worry, that's Halloween. We're still expecting another few weeks until we see Halloween restores. But still, you know, it's nice. It's a nice looking Halloween skin, isn't it? Yeah. So, okay, cool. We got the point. Oasis, maybe some things could work out nicely for you, but by default, I still don't fully trust it. So we'll talk about that on Wednesday night. Now, in regards to jacket, with this arriving, the collection here, the Cyber collection, did kind of recover a bit. Some of the skins are down, you know, they're still down a fair bit, but from what I can see, it's not overall terrible. But let me tell you, before we saw the jacket, the whole collection here wasn't exactly doing super great. And it's actually a complete collection now. What could come out after the jacket to give that a boost? Nothing really. So I'm sorry to say, but I'm not feeling fully confident with that. Especially when right now, a brand new Twitch drop jacket is being given away for absolutely free. Maybe people don't care, and it wouldn't surprise me. So in regards to that, with it being abnormal, we can talk more about that on Wednesday. I don't think I'm going to be offering that much in regards to buy order price. So, okay, cool. Now, in regards to these three skins, if I could just quickly hop back over to here. They did sell somewhat similar. There's like 1,000 sales difference, but I thought I could generalise with all three of them. So you've got the No Mercy M39, the Chameleon Double Barrel Shotgun, and the Feral Raw AK-47. 4,600 subscribers to 5,200 subscribers. So if I were to just do a nice comparison, what would I consider? Well, I think last week's two weapon skins here might be a good shout. This right here, both of them just under 5,000 subscribers. So, of course, if I could just quickly go back to the past, look at the previous week, and what do we see? That did just over 11,000 subscribers. This did just over 10,000 subscribers. Interesting. Well, looking at the weapons and making a consideration, I think we could probably look at all three with the current sales at the moment of 7,600, 7,000 and 6,600. I think we could probably do between 9 to 11,000 subscribers with the estimate. Now, in regards to No Mercy M39, a lot of the previous M39 skins sold for around 10,000 subscribers. Case in point, Redemption M39, 13,700. Before we saw all of these, that was actually in the positive. It was doing all right. Not huge gains, but it was in the positive. Apocalypse Nomad with the transparent aim sight, that had just over 10,000 subscribers. The Kevlar M39, 11,600. And over to here, Bombshell, 17,000. This this and this, before we saw these skins, before we saw the M39 being the focused item of the month, these were comfortably in the positive, but also due to the sheer lack of new skins being accepted. That most likely will be the contributing factor in regards to why they were perfectly nice. As time goes on, I do get the feeling that No Mercy M39 will be appreciated. I was under the impression with the Arctic Skull that a lot of people were buying it because it was white. In the past, we've had like comics weapons. Right now, they're very expensive because people like to pair them up with their full whiteout sets and roam around in the snow. You're completely invisible most of the time. Not completely, but you get the idea. Super camouflaged. Well, now we've got this one instead. It does have white portions, but it also has black. That right there, metallic, but still whitish. Anyway, that took the brunt of the ridiculous amount of sales, whereas this right here, it's looking like it's going to sell half as much compared to that, which is a big surprise. But also, this is selling at $3. The lack of sales, I do think, could help this out. And you might sit there and say, but it's a No Mercy collection skin. Surely it could be okay. Well, unfortunately, not all of the No Mercy skins are doing perfectly fine, as you can see. Nice bit of positivity initially, but then weapons and tools and oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. So, okay. We'll see how things progress. But that right there does look interesting. But with it being abnormal, let's wait till Wednesday. Let's keep an eye on it, all right? If it does end up with 11,000 subscribers at most, it does look interesting. But it might still be a situation where I stick with a low price buy order and then probably try and pick them up for a cheaper price and then flip it, and you get the idea. So cool. Chameleon double barrel shotgun. Unfortunately, I'm questioning it quite a lot. Double barrel shotgun skins as of recent, not the best, sorry to say. All of these are down, unfortunately. Yeah, down 56, down 52, down 37, and down 70, and down 61, and down 35, and down 29, and down 22, and down 57. Now, Bamboo Blaster, you might sit there and say, why is that in the positive? Because that sold next to nothing. 4,500 subscribers. And then you look at the Blackout one, you'll say, why is that in the positive? Because it's a Blackout skin. People love Blackout collection. The vast majority of these skins are down bad. And I'm so sorry to say, but Chameleon, I just can't help to assume you're going to follow suit. That very likely could just be a 60 cent to 80 cent buy order. Okay, we'll leave it at that. And that right there, Feral Raw. You're most likely going to do around 9,000 subscribers. Perfectly fine looking skin. Consider watching my rust rotation video to get a good look at it. But considering we have 2 Twitch Drop AK-47 being away for absolute free at the moment, it wouldn't surprise me if that does get lost in the shuffle. It wouldn't be surprising if it drops off like all the recent skins we've seen, as you'll notice. That's Emeruz, and that's K-Ketamine and Ichiran Higa's AK-47. This right here, that is currently down to like 90 cents. This right here is down to 80 cents. I just saw the number there. Down 73%, down 59%, down 33%, down 59%. Point made, vast majority of the marketable AK-47s are not looking good. And considering that there's a competition being given away for free at the moment in regards to this, I worry for it. So that might be like a 60 cent to 80 cent barter. Well then, I reckon we should now focus talking about the Brony Roadsign Gloves. So in regards to the comparisons I could do at this, I thought, you know what? The best thing we could look at would be last week's Outer Planets Ridge. 4,400 subscribers, and over to here, 4,350. So, okay. Not too bad, not too far away. So, going back to the previous week, what do we see? A 9,200 subscriber Outer Planets Ridge. And that was a big surprise to me. I was actually very surprised to see it sell so little. With the lack of sales, that actually might be one of the fridges that actually goes up in price quite nicely. But in regards to these Roadsign Gloves, it has a collection that's already been out for a while. In fact, to get a very good visual of this, let's just hop back over to here, look at the collection, and it's not too hard to notice. With all of these being accepted back in 2018, when we had considerably a lot less people playing the game, 6,000 subscribers, 4,000 subscribers, 6,000 subscribers, 2 days in, 6,300 subscribers. So yeah, it has sold more than a set, and as the time goes on with the rest of the week, it's going to be surplus, of course, but I think the Brony Gloves potentially do between 8 to 10,000 subscribers. Probably won't be the end of the world. And I do certainly hope that maybe the skin creator, with his on the whim submission of his Roadside Gloves here on Wednesday, not Tuesday, Wednesday, and then seeing it being accepted the very next day, the very next Rust store, maybe he's going to feel reinvigorated, please, Debbie, please, in making Tier 2 and Tier 3. If that happens, and we do see them being accepted, well, that's going to go up in price very nicely. With the possibility of seeing that not happen, well, in regards to Roadside Gloves in general, all the recent ones are not looking too good, But that's not working properly. Let me just refresh. And if it just searched over to here, road sign? Not toad sign, road sign. Sorry. Road sign gloves, please. And do I see all of them? Perfection. The majority of these road sign gloves are in the positive. They are doing very, very nicely. But a lot of them also are part of full collections. Brony isn't a full collection, but it is appreciated as a fun, silly set to roam around in. It's all bright pink, goofy. Did you already own Brony collection before we saw that appear? Did you sell your hoodie for about $20? But as time goes on, I think it could work out nicely. Independently, those gloves, they do look very goofy. And I have made a short video showcasing them specifically if you'd like to go ahead and see that for yourself. Ta-da! So, okay, cool. We'll leave it at that. I think some interesting things could happen, but I have to leave it until Wednesday. I want to see what the sales look like, and then I'll talk about it. I think you could see it being a nice, slow, long-term investment. But you'd have to be very patient with it. And then in regards to the gold chains boots, I'm not too surprised to see it sold like literally nothing. And unfortunately, I don't actually have anything I can really compare it with. Like, if I go back over to here and look at the previous sales I've seen in the past, like copper boots, 3,500 subscribers almost. Over to here with the wood double door, 3,700 subscribers already. Like, I don't really have anything that came out somewhat recently that compares to this. But I can still give you a rough estimate. Considering with this, what would I say in regards to this? Well, I think I'll say 5,000 to 6,000 subscribers. But just remember, I do believe it's due to a lack of interest. And of course, with its collection here. Where's the hoodie pants and the tier 2 and the tier 3? They just weren't accepted, unfortunately. Facepunch didn't want them. So based on what I see here, oh my. Who knows? Maybe at some point in the future, we do see tier 2 and tier 3 and hoodie pants being accepted and complete the sets rust doors. I don't think that's going to happen, though. So with those boots, due to the sheer lack of sales, with only 5,000 to 6,000 subscribers, I think even then it actually could still work out quite alright. Like, you could still pair up these boots and gloves with the Tiger collection, and it would actually fit quite nicely. Give it a shot. Look it up yourself. Tiger collection. Here you go. Because it is Tiger themed. But yeah, the Tiger collection. Ta-da. It's very cheap. Very approachable. So, never got those boots and gloves, did we? Keep an eye on it. We'll talk more about this, of course, because it's coming out on Wednesday. It's abnormal. Alright then, so overall with the sales, and of course don't forget the estimates will be in the description. It will be with the chapters. Things are looking pretty interesting, but it's more specifically these two skins. In regards to all of these here, there's always a possibility of making some sweet, delicious profit, but it's going to have to be some very smart barders. We'll talk about that, of course, on Wednesday night when we do the abnormals and, of course, discuss prices to offer for all of them, including the regular skins. All right, then. Well, got to be a little bit patient with this one. But in regards to what's happened recently, what do you need to be aware of? In regards to commits, nothing new has been mentioned. We're getting closer and closer to October, so perhaps everything that they said they want to work on, it's already been done. All right, well, we'll see what's going on then. In regards to the Twitch drops, have you managed to pick up everything yet? I've actually got quite a lot of the general drops. I keep forgetting all the streamers here. You only have to spend 1 hour of your time watching all of them and you get the skin. And it goes very quickly. Like, I'm always I kept anticipating it to be 2 hours. So I've accidentally got like nearly all the general drops because I've left it for too long. Anyway, if you want to get a good look at all those brand new Twitch drops, by all means, please consider watching my September Twitch Drop Skin Showcase. And if you watch me on your phone, your smartphone, if you watch me on YouTube, please could you consider hyping up that video. If you know, you know. But basically, there's like a setting around here when you scroll across and it'll say, would you like to hype the video? And if you do so, I'll be incredibly grateful. It doesn't cost you anything. That's for you to try and help out smaller channels. And yeah, I'm a small channel. So cool. Everything's looking pretty sweet. I've pretty much said everything I need to say. I guess that's it. So keep track of the prices for all your skins. Monitor your barders, please monitor your barders. You don't want to accidentally get dumped on and then suddenly you can't afford anything. Keep track of the prices you've offered for certain skins. Keep track of those skins. Make sure you don't get dumped on. Make sure you don't get like 100 pairs of boots for something that isn't very in demand. Yes, all those stupid things have happened to me in the past. And I'd just like to quickly showcase to you that in regards to brand new skin submissions, not really seeing that much, but I am starting to see more and more Halloween submissions. So over to here, the Halloween contest entries, we're now up to 19 still, but based on what I've seen, it's got to be about 20 to 30 now. So we're getting closer and closer to October 7. But I still wonder, could we still have a focused item of the month even though we have Halloween? And of course later on this year, Christmas time as well. What type of item would actually work quite nicely with Halloween, I wonder? What would you like to see? What focused items would you like to see next? What do you think truly deserves to get skins next? Try not say water purifier. That's cheating. But I'd love to see more furniture, like chairs and tables. I've said that many times. But maybe we could see something like a tank top. Tank top's a pretty good shout. You could put some very stupid... you could make some very silly things. The only skin we have for that at the moment is the black mesh. That's it. And that sells like $50 now. So you never know. We'll see. But plenty of other options. Feel free to mention yours. And that's it. So thank you very much for watching the video. I greatly appreciate it. Best of luck with you and your investments. Keep track of everything. As we endure October, things might get a little bit rough. But just know after that, it only gets better, alright? So catch you later. See you and goodbye.